Breaking news, everyone. Mom, get the camera. Logan Paul and everyone he associates with are trash and scum. Crazy, I know.
Logan Paul is at the headlines again, not because he refunded the victims of CryptoZoo, but because
the victims of CryptoZoo deserve worse. Because if you were stupid enough to buy Logan Paul's NFTs, or NFTs in general, honestly, you deserve worse. You deserve worse.
He made a video claiming his ex-friend and podcast host George Janko is a liar, so we have quite a bit to unpack in today's video. As most of you guys know,
proven liars calling other people liars. Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Logan Paul runs a podcast known as Impulsive, and this podcast has had a range of different co-hosts throughout the years, but he's kept Mike Majlak on for the longest. The other guy who's probably been there the second longest would be George Janko, as he's been an Impulsive co-host for roughly 15 months. But I think he was also frequenting this show before he became an official co-host, and it seems like they had a good run, but it was very clear by the end, things were really falling off. Something was seriously wrong in that friendship. And out of everything that happened in public that we could see, I feel like there was...
If you choose to have friends like Logan Paul or Jake Paul, then yeah, something is wrong.
Like two main pivotal moments that really cut these two apart from each other. Number one was Logan calling out and going in on George for being a Christian, and number two was
oh yeah, I remember that one. That was really awkward.
The Bobby Lee podcast. The first thing I mentioned there made Logan look really bad, not only as a friend, but also as a human being. And then the whole Bobby Lee situation, it just kind of made George look like he struggled to take jokes. And it was just all around a weird look for George because he really was branding himself at that time as being a comedian. But we have a whole lot more information on the situation now as the recent feud flared up again a couple days ago when George brought the other co-host, Mike Majlak, onto his podcast.
Dude, what's the deal with American comedians? And what's the deal with everyone in America turning away from typical sources of information that they would normally use for no reason, even in this case, and looking up to comedians and saying, yes, this comedian, he probably has valuable insight in the functionings of the government, politics, and whatnot. I wonder what his opinion is that's gonna shape my opinion on things. That is kind of wild that that's really happening that much.
Here's the first clip that's important to this feud.
This is where we probably have to get into the material. Like that was
Bobby Lee situation.
No, hold on. We can talk about those. Okay, you can. I'll listen and say, yeah.
Okay, the Bobby Lee situation.
Who was the first person?
Is that a Tupac shirt?
Person that jumped off the couch and said George just left. That was not good. We have to fix the situation.
I mean, the bandana, it must be, right?
But did they not cut shit that you should have stood up for me and said, hey, you can't cut that shit. That's gonna make him look like an idiot for leaving.
Okay, let's slow down and I'll answer that.
That is already a pretty serious accusation. Ho, interesting. Because if they cut stuff that Bobby Lee said and it was not good at all, not nice at all, and it made Bobby look like an asshole, oh wow, that is bad.
We have always,
if true,
cut. This is all healthy, by the way. We have always cut. No. Which by the way would be healthy. We have numerous times on the show, which I'm sure a number of shows do, cut things that we believe will protect the integrity or reputation of the guest.
That protected nobody but him.
No, of the guest. That's.
He's not denying it though. That's kind of crazy.
That's what I'm trying.
Well, what about the guy that you break bread with, bro?
But we removed a number of things that you said on the podcast.
Name one.
Well, no, I'm not going. I'm not.
I mean, name one is kind of cheap here because he obviously does not remember. His whole life does not revolve around that one moment. So name one is kind of a cheap thing to say here.
Booty, bro.
No. Do you want me to? There was something that you said on the laser beam episode.
What laser beam episode?
Do you remember laser beam in Australia?
What I
did that episode? I'd rather not say. I can tell. Why don't I just tell you?
Just tell me. I'll beep it.
You said something about like laughing at a girl getting hit in like a parking lot. You saw like a fight.
Yeah, I just said the joke wrong.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't sexually harass somebody, man.
I'm not.
Whoa, okay, that brings a whole lot more
interesting
context into the situation. If they cut out Bobby doing that to him, things start to make a whole lot more sense now.
But okay, Mike, if this was an episode that was you, and what happened to you, and then the whole world thinks that I walked away because I can't take a joke, that's fucked.
That's fucked. It parlayed into more stuff happening down the line. Like, it just became, at that point, you saw me, I went on Bobby's show.
Yeah.
Right?
And they
I mean, currently, it does not seem good for the other show. He currently does look way better. But then again, remember, it's Logan Paul and all of the people that he's surrounding with. So the idea that someone's not lying here is kind of crazy. So, you know, let's see if this is actually true.
Cut around it. You said that.
Well, I have no control over that.
I try to make peace with this guy.
I know.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
I've tried to make peace with him behind closed doors. I try to reach out. I try to be cool. But by the way, and I'll just say this, we'll just empty it out. I never had a problem with Bobby Lee.
No, he knows
I had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think...
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that...
Oh, jeez. He's not denying it. Dude, if someone said, yeah, he grabbed my dick to me, I would be like, no, I did not. Instantaneously. There would be no hesitation unless that happened. So, wow, okay.
Only turns around to grab your dick,
right,
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy. Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore.
Whoa, what? Leave that in, or don't post the episode, or don't cut the episode like they did. Did they really hide Bobby Lee's garbage behavior and paint George to look sensitive?
By the way, just the thing, this is why I don't like podcasts, interviews where shit is cut, okay? By cutting stuff, you can make yourself or anyone look either good or bad, pretty much. Especially if you're talking about a bunch of different things. It's so easy to just cut a tiny snippet of a sentence, and suddenly it's bad. Or good, depending on what you want to get. It is so easy and manipulative.
Sensitive so they could stay on good terms with Bobby? What? And if this was like to protect Bobby's image, I don't even think it would protect it that much, because Bobby and Kalila, they've already been there, done that when it came to really tearing down his image. And for those of you guys who don't know, Bobby Lee is a massive comedian who has had a very public relationship with his now ex-girlfriend and co-host of his podcast known as Tiger Belly. Roughly, I think it was like a year or two ago, that romantic relationship ended, and it turned into a very public humiliation ritual where all sorts of wild stuff was said and just came out.
Huh, I missed the wild stuff, sad.
But still, even though that's wild, that doesn't take away from what he did to George, if that's true.
How crazy is that?
I don't think I understood. I can only speak for myself.
Bro, it's on a group chat.
I hope you can understand
it's on a group
that.
Chat.
No, I'm talking about during the episode, because I didn't know that you were feeling.
But after the episode, do you remember when you called me?
I mean, what kind of way are you supposed to feel if a man just suddenly starts touching your private parts? Yeah, I that's kind of strange that you instantaneously do not assume. Maybe that's not good.
And I said, Mike, this is all that happens. And you said, verbatim, you said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guests. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
I just think...
On my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes.
I think
that's crazy.
3? He looks like 45. Wow.
The calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there was so much like confusion and disarray in the podcast that there was no coming back.
I mean, yeah, one side, and at least these clips, is definitely looking better than the other. But I don't know if I just, blindly trust whatever anyone is honestly saying here. I kind of don't at all.
We got to a point. Fault. No. First of all, I didn't say it was your fault.
Yeah, that's weird. Why did they set up the podcast like that? But I believe it simply based on how the guys were sat. You always have the main guest sitting right here, and then you had Mike and Logan sitting to the left. And then for some reason, George was like kind of behind the host to the right, which just didn't make sense because then he was kind of like this fourth wheel on the show. It also subliminally puts the guest in a more uncomfortable situation as he's kind of surrounded by hosts. Like he's smack in the middle. If you don't know the hosts, you're going to be more uncomfortable when you're sitting in the middle of all of them rather than having your host on one side and the guest on the other side. And that just doesn't make sense for a show standpoint because you would want your guest to be as comfortable as possible to have the best possible conversation.
I was
Do you know what the last straw for me was? The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave for my own fear. I told, when Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock
That sounds a little bit a lot.
bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time we were making money. You made money on the show.
But at the time, we're a couple months.
How much money did you make over the course
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
Right.
Name me a job that you're a...
How do you spend that much by being on a show? Even if the show happens in America, and he lives, I don't know, in Africa somewhere, no, farther away, I don't know, somewhere in Asia or whatever, the longest, most expensive flight, that would still not be 10 grand. That is crazy. There's no way that can be true.
A part of that you spend $10,000 to do. Okay, so that's one. Two, and by the way, let's not forget that for a year and a half I didn't get paid.
No, and I didn't get paid for years.
Okay.
Until I got paid.
Okay, that is a massive allegation from George here that Logan eventually did respond to, and Mike does push back about the money.
Huh, so not being paid is real in that case? Because the other guy also says he's not getting paid. You know what I never understood and what actually pisses me off more about people like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, or whoever? It's the fact that they're literal multi-millionaires. Their net worth is probably in the hundreds of millions, and they can't pay a guy. Now, admittedly, this would be a pretty serious salary per month considering popularity and everything, but, you know, probably 10K or, well, most likely probably above 10K, right? And they still can't pay, even though it's technically not a lot for Logan Paul even. He still doesn't pay people properly? Is that the thing? That pisses me off so much when someone does that. That's crazy.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful.
Something like that?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about money, but I was always grateful. Always grateful. I think anybody could see that. But when I got pushed out, and I'm seeing that I'm getting pushed out,
okay, this now doesn't make sense. So previously he's saying, oh, I'm not getting paid. I lost money doing this. And now he says, you got paid a sizable amount of money. And he's like, I'm always grateful for that. This is already confusing and clearly something's not right.
and I start my own show. Do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey man, you can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What's that?
I don't believe that straight off the bat. I mean, Logan Paul or whatever can be as much of a freak of society as he wants, but I don't believe even he would go that far, honestly. Oof, man.
What about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And then I said, hey,
he
man,
didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. He says if I take
Celsius, I'm not a part of impulsive.
Then he told you that if you take Celsius, that you cannot continue to be on impulsive, which is the core driver for Prime, as you're going to continue to funnel viewership from the impulsive.
Okay, Celsius is some kind of Prime competitor drink, got it.
Impulsive show back to your show, which promotes a competitive product.
Yeah.
He also told you that if you wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
So what Mike said there makes sense.
Ah, now this sounds just like a misunderstanding, honestly. This is most likely what it is. And it would kind of go like this. Jake Paul tells this guy right here, where is he? Where is our sweet butter cheeks? he probably heard about this deal and he said, hey, if you take this deal, you cannot be no longer on the podcasting thing, maybe in case things change or whatever, right? So he could easily misunderstand that as, well, he's kind of threatening me or telling me what to do. That is completely normal to misunderstand. Doesn't make it right, though, but that is something that you could probably easily misunderstand in the moment. Okay, got it.
As you're going to continue to funnel viewers. Also told you that if you wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
Yeah, wait 6 months. This sounds like Logan Paul is kind of okay. I'm constantly looking at the video then because I can't tell the Pauls apart. He's telling, so he is giving him a chance to rejoin if he wants. This is kind of what it sounds like, because otherwise you wouldn't do this in general, right? But he kind of takes it as that being controlling or whatnot, which is kind of understandable from his position if he's pissed and whatnot. Doesn't make it right, though.
So what Mike said there makes sense. And if that's true, it's fair. Because at the time, George's audience was coming directly from Impulsive.
But they were always trying to find a way to push me out.
I don't.
You know what he told me? And I told you know what I told him?
I think that was
this is a guy who's this is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making. Okay, and on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten.
Oh, I heard something. I did hear something about $11 million per week from Impulsive, which is not true. It can't be true. There is no living hell way that that podcast is making $11 million per week. If it made $11 million per week, it needs to be literally viewed by multiple million people live. To get $11 million from a YouTube video, even with sponsors, even for Mr. Beast, that would probably be close to, I don't even know how many views, but more than he makes per video. That is for a lot more than he makes from a video. That is crazy. There must be some kind of misunderstanding here.
And a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the fuck out of it. I didn't care because
that's on you, boo. Hey, if you're doing business, don't rely on people being nice to you. Okay, that's a way to get hurt. If you're pissed about not getting paid, well, the other guy asked to be paid and got paid, and you're just expecting someone to, just say, "Oh, you're such a nice dude. How about you get paid?" No, don't do that. Just ask for it.
I'm grateful for what I'm making. I'm going to go start my own business. But when I come over here, because I'm scared I'm going to lose my job here, and then you're saying no, I sent them out.
Not you're saying no. That's what, once again, please, bro.
But let me
please,
just finish.
because that's one thing.
Wait, are you saying you?
Yes.
No, I'm not saying you.
Because it's one thing, like with all of this, bro, with all of this, that you have to understand. He wasn't the only one that took hits for how the relationship ended with you. I got the same brunt, bro. I got the same brunt.
Okay,
I only ever spoke highly.
Can I speak for a second, please?
Well, yeah, I mean.
So when I get that call and I tell him, I go, Logan, I get it, bro. And I fully told him, I go, listen, man, like.
Okay, at the start it seemed a little bit better, but now he's kind of falling apart in my eyes a lot, in fact.
I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me.
That's wild.
Okay, so if Logan really said that, that is some insane ego going on. It's also shocking that he didn't want to build up George.
I have no idea who this is, but, even if he says this, that's not okay, but I don't know if that's true or not, because I have no idea who this guy is. Just the fact that he was Logan Jake Paul's friend or whatever.
Because if George's independent platform is larger, he would then bring more viewers to watch Impulsive. So that's just a win-win. Sponsors also a part of that equation, because if he has more sponsors, he can then afford to build out his team for the show, so he can post more at a higher quality, which would then grow the show.
I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's
fighting
everybody.
Words, look at
he has a rich dad? Well, then why is money a problem? You know what I absolutely hate? It's like a modern thing. Oh god, I absolutely hate it. It's rich kids. Rich kids who make it to adulthood and then they're like, I am an ex-executive in this company. Oh, really? And what company is this? Oh, it's a law firm. Who owns this law firm? My dad. God, doesn't that piss you off? When rich kids actually do this? You know what especially pisses me off, and this is a newer thing? Because that was the previous thing that people did, right? Oh, I'm the ex-CEO. No, I'm not the ex-CEO, but I'm the second in command of a giant company that makes millions. I'm a big deal, and my dad owns the place. Okay. Or it's a subsidiary of my family or whatever. And people try to be big shots now. You know what's the new thing that pisses me off even more? I personally know two people who have wealthy families and they did this shit. One is a girl, and that pisses me off to the most extremes, because the other person is a guy and he at least doesn't say what she says. Okay, so there's this girl. Her family are multi-millionaires. And she owns a car rental company, and it's relatively successful. And she constantly says that she made it herself. Oh, her millionaire family did not even help her. She just magically, when she was 18, got the money to buy luxury level cars and rent them. You know? From nothing. Didn't work, didn't do anything, just turned 18 or whatever, and then she just magically had the money to do. Of course your family helped you. Your family literally made the business. They hired people to make all of it stick. And now you're claiming, I'm self-made. Bruh, it pisses me off so much when people do this. It's like the most egregious thing ever, because they just want to feel good about themselves. Jeez.
But you
don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We were at a point where no one was speaking properly to each other. And the only person, probably, that was the calmest out of the three, I sent you a very nice text message. Please.
Mike, you went to Celsius to try to get my deal. Called me right after you called them. You never called to check in on me.
Do you know?
You never called to see.
I texted you.
No, you didn't. It was after you went after the deal.
And by the way, I wasn't going after the deal.
You did.
I was going after the contract to bring to Logan and say, beat this with Prime, please. I was never going to take the Celsius.
But Mike, listen.
I don't really know if I believe Mike here.
I don't know what to believe even here. Both sides are definitely talking shit. And even if someone comes with receipts at this point, I mean, the stuff they're saying is so nebulous that even the receipts are kind of cheap now, I feel.
Sponsorship rates, they're pretty standardized based on how many views you get and I guess your brand size. So Prime could just simply offer him a fair market value rate. I'm assuming he would either just accept or pass based on the price, and there's just no reason to fish around for like the...
That's not exactly how it goes. No. That is not exactly how it goes. Yes, market rates are fixed for brands and brand deals and whatnot, typically for smaller YouTubers, but when there's something that could potentially be bigger or whatever, there are companies that recognize that, so they will actually offer more. So they could theoretically match it, but they have no idea if they're matching it. And in this situation, if your relationship is already strenuous as it is, going up to him and say, hey, here's this amount of money, you should be happy, and it turns out it's 50% less than what he got offered from Celsius, that would just make things worse. So I kind of am okay with him trying to fish around for how much he's getting paid for them to match. That is actually a smart move.
Deal number specifically, and also especially if they're trying to save this relationship, they could just throw a deal his way and then the ball is in his court if he wants to continue this relationship or not.
No, do not agree with that. Again, the relationship would be probably far worse if they just came up to him and offered less, because that would definitely be just kind of rubbing salt in the wound for that guy. Do not agree with this.
Also, this is such an LA moment, as there's just so much snaky behind the scenes stuff that apparently happens there.
You can't. Okay, so I have one friend telling me to go have my rich.
We're just having a conversation. The one thing I am a little bit upset about was the text that you sent back to me. That's it.
I told you you're a piece of shit. Everyone knows it.
Yes.
You need to, but dude, I meant every word of it.
That's crazy.
No, I'm
That's
not.
crazy. That's
if you
insane.
fell out, if you
That's
fell
an
out,
insane
if
statement.
you fell out and you started doing scummy moves to your friend, I called you out on it.
But I
bro.
didn't do anything.
Yeah, this is all a he said, she said, but skipping forward, they bring Logan back up here.
I kind of want to pivot from this just because like like it's unfair to talk about him because like he's not
here.
Yeah.
He's not here.
And just to make it clear, because people are gonna clip it, nothing that I went through would I change. I had a great memories.
What?
I have great memories with Logan. I really do. I have great memories with him. He's taught me so much in life that I could handle now through what he's put me through and what he's taught me. He is one of God's greatest sharpening tools that I've ever had in my life. There's going to be so many things that I teach my children
That's not exactly the nicest way to put it, though.
that he taught me. There is nothing that I regret with that relationship, but I will not bow anymore. And if he wants to come to me as a man and we could discuss it as men, then we'll talk about it. But I'm no longer his right hand. I'm not going to be it.
First of all, you were only his left.
I wanted to keep that in for context before we take a look at Logan Paul's response, which is now been deleted.
I had to start my own show because we're not making
Fact check because it's what did it say that? Yeah, fact check, yeah. Oh man, I do not trust this because these situations are so dumb. You can probably provide low-key stupid receipts for everything. I doubt he's even gonna provide real receipts. Like, come on, it's Logan Paul.
Response, which has now been deleted.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on the show and I'm getting pushed out.
You made money on the show.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
All right, let's talk about this. Obviously, I wasn't on the podcast to represent myself, so I'd like to clarify.
Yeah, again, I don't believe spending 10 G's to be on a show. Like, what the hell kind of expenses is that? Did you rent out 15 different Lambos for each part of the day to ride?
A few things that were said. As well
Are you Taylor Swift that you need a private plane everywhere to go grocery shopping?
as having his own credit card, all expenses related to the show were paid for, including all travel and lodging. Obviously, George's total reimbursement came out to $20,000.
That's pretty good. And yeah, see, again, even if you live on the opposite side of the world and fly every week forth and back, that's not going to be that huge of a sum, relatively speaking. 20K is a lot of money. But, you know, for... just no.
$317. I'd love to see any books that show otherwise. Spending $120,000 a year to be on a show is a little confusing.
Okay, so that is a direct counter to one of George's main reasons for why he left the show. George is gonna have to respond to this.
This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making.
That statement is so crazy that it's almost laughable. That would mean I'm making $572 million a year. I'm nowhere.
Huh. Oh yeah, 52. Okay, I could have done the math there. Wow, yeah, more than 500 mil. Yeah, again, this is clearly impossible. Whatever this number is, if it's even real or if it even was stated, it's not that.
Near that. What happened was Prime had a very successful month. I think we did like 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid.
Oh yeah, and by the way, whatever number he sent was before taxes, before expenses. It was not pure revenue; it was gross. So, you know,
$5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful.
Like that?
Yeah, this sounded like bullshit because you can't say, "Oh, I didn't make anything," and now sizable amount of money. I'm always grateful. Yeah, this sounds like BS.
I like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on Impulsive. The work.
300K. That is 3 times more than the top 10% earners in America. I think if you earn 100K in America, you're the top 10% earner. So he made 3 times the top 10% earner, which probably puts him at the top 3% earner in America, most likely, because the top 10% actually gets from being top 10 earners in a country is a wild difference from the, you know, obviously number 10% to the 1%. It is crazy shit.
Work requirements consisted of about 3 days.
Also, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, whoever, hit me up. I can replace him. I will not be the clown. I will be the whole goddamn circus for 300K a month. You can spank me. Bobby Lee can stroke my meat for all I care. I will be there. For 300K a year? Hell yes! I will take all of that punishment with a smile on my face.
Days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever. It comes out to about $2,300 per hour, and he also had 10% equity of the entire show.
If this is true and he was actually reimbursed for all travel, that's a very fair deal.
Wait, so he left the show, he probably sold his equity, or Logan Paul probably offered to buy it back, because that's what you do with equity. Now, you can keep it, obviously, if you think it's gonna grow bigger and you don't need the money, which is the smart choice. But 10% equity of a show where he got paid $2K an hour for work, technically? Yeah, that's all big payout. That is a big payout, potentially.
Not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second. But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile the friendship. I invited him to my birthday.
Texts. Not true and no. I don't even know who's on which side here, honestly. I assume this is him? You coming to WrestleMania? No, not true, no? Might as well put honestly random text here in that case. This is not even close to a receipt in my eyes.
Birthday party and WrestleMania, and even my ranch a few weeks later. He chose not to come. He also unfollowed all the people he mentioned on Instagram, which is maybe why they didn't call him. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but he still does not follow them to this day.
And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
The 2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday. His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that I love...
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Oh, wait, no, there is a way that doesn't it makes sense. But wait, this doesn't make sense from the aspect that he's saying, okay, we did not do the thing on your birthday. It was 4 days later. So why didn't he come in that case, though, still? Why wasn't he on those episodes if it's 4 days after his birthday? Unless if he wanted to have his birthday in... No, you can fly. Again, it's America. You have commercial airlines from state to state, like... So, this is kind of sketch. This is, again... I think it's lies on top of maybe lies even at this point. This doesn't make sense.
UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that I love about George, he prioritizes his family and friends over anything.
Again, if that's true, it seems like George misrepresented a lot of the key details here.
Yeah, but if it's also true... again, it doesn't make sense. If it's 4 days after the birthday, what?
Here. My big question then is Logan going to talk about the Bobby or religion situation, though?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing
my assumption is no, though.
My show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him.
After my dentist appointment at 3 p.m. want to go see John Wick. Bro, we gotta get you Prime. Bro, we gotta get you Prime. Don't drink our competitor, you goose. Call me back. Ha ha ha. I have to tell you something. Ha ha ha. Well, this doesn't prove anything. This is just a random thing, honestly.
Drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film, like, I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal.
Well, asking you is definitely ego, but telling you about it and consulting you, yes, you don't have control over his life, technically, right? So asking Didn't ask me. That is pure ego, though.
Deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money. The entire text is right here that I sent.
Totally understand you have to do what you have to do, and I support your decision. I respect the fact that you're forcing on your... Jesus Christ, like, fucking... This is where you reply with a single K and didn't read. Your decision. I respect the fact that you're focusing on your platform, and I understand that you have to pay the bills. Bro, you have way more money. You have enough money to pay the bills. I'm sorry, Impulsive isn't... I like how he capitalizes it because he loves it so much. That is hilarious that you actually capitalize it intentionally. Isn't enough for that. Just like you're looking for out for yourself, I have to do the same. My business partners and I don't find it appropriate to promote one of our biggest competitors. I'm excited to watch you build your podcast. And if the deal is up, you want to come on Impulsive, the invite is open. I'd like to talk about how to move forward with this amicably, that who cares, on social, because I'm sure we can avoid the lame public back and forth and handle this in a mature way. That our 8 years of friendship deserve. We support you and will deliver to you whatever has long blah blah blah. Okay. I mean, doesn't exactly fit what he's technically saying here, but you know. Yeah, again, not in the seat.
Him after our conversation, because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on Impulsive if he's going to take the deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
I mean, that's kind of reasonable, and that's close to what Mike said previously, but I'm interested in George's take on this, or his response on this, because George filming Logan, rubbing it in that he's going to a competitor of Logan's, number one, that just doesn't make sense. Number two, it doesn't really look good on George's end either, so I don't really know why he would want to do that.
My hairdresser, not good.
Not sure if that's true or not. So much of the situation is just, he said this. No, he said this. So we don't really know.
Hey man, where you're at, there's no room for you to grow. They won't let you grow. They will not let you grow.
I thought saying that to Mike was a little crazy. He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author. I tried as much as I could to help him get into those positions, and it's not entirely because of me. Mike is a phenom in his own right, and he capitalized on the platform that I gave him, which is awesome. Just like George is doing now.
I have no idea who Mike is.
But if that's not growth, like what is? In fact, I think people forget, like, I praised George for starting a podcast like a lot.
Georgie started his own podcast. I think it's a great idea. I always love when my co-hosts venture out and do their own things. Congratulations. It's awesome, guys. Check out his...
That sounds just like PR bullshit speak, though, honestly. Because remember, a lot of these things that they say on the shows about each other is they're too big of an entity to, you know, start drama like this. When you are at a certain size, drama is no longer necessarily the thing that you want to do, because there's just so much more efficient ways to spend your time, honestly. So, I mean, this might as well be just PR bull.
His podcast.
And also saying they won't let you grow was a little hurtful, because I thought at least I helped Mike do some of the things that he did, and I even encouraged him to start his own podcast.
I think you should take a page out of Georgie's book and start a show of your own.
There's no greater feeling than watching people you love succeed. I try to give people around me a platform, and if they capitalize on it, fantastic. Mike and George did. And George will even tell you this off camera. I encouraged him to pursue media and comedy since 2015. I really believe in the kid, and I still do. There's a lot more.
Is he even funny? He does not seem like a funny guy.
I'm not going to get into it, but this isn't to say, by the way, that I didn't fuck up along the way. I did. I should not have mocked his beliefs. I apologize for that. I should have stuck up for him with Bobby Lee, and I definitely should have had his back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story has unfolded this way. I wish him nothing but...
This is the typical just response. Yes. If you can't deny something outright with enough of a believable reason, just own it up, because that's how the world functions. So him saying this, that he admits bad things and whatnot here, is kinda useless. It doesn't mean anything in reality. It's just like, okay, well, I took accountability for my mistakes. I'm a different person now for the 5th year this week, probably. But, you know, different person, growing as a person. I hate these apologies so much.
Health, wealth, happiness, all the success that he wants. And I hope that one day we can sit down and have a relationship and a conversation.
Okay, good response on Logan's part, but now a lot more stuff is up in the air. George's podcast is still up and unedited, so I don't really know what that means. But George did respond with one tweet. Hey, no need to make TikToks. Come talk to me in person. We can handle it like real men. But that tweet is also deleted now. He also just recorded this
Of course it is.
video.
Dang. First of all, happy Mother's Day before I get into this drama, because I gotta go take my mom out. I'm having a splendid day today. Second.
No, that already sounds not great. Did he also delete this clip?
Yo, your TikTok is cute, bro. It's cute. I get it. You're doing your best to show face. Do whatever you need, bro. Like, talk to your team. Do whatever you need. But when you want to be a man, come talk to me like a man. Let's sit down like...
Oh, I completely forgot, actually, to talk about this, because this kind of looks boring. Let me guess, this also got deleted, right? But... you know what's the greatest part here? I think it's the fact that the receipts that Logan Paul shows, for example, here, the money that he earned, that guy earned, for example. Logan Paul probably has absolutely no idea about any of the books, okay? He has people who handle these things. He does not know or understand probably anything. He's just the type of guy who's involved in a lot of things. Yes, he's technically the CEO and he makes some decisions, but he does not understand the business on the business fundamental level of money and how it's being spent. He has someone who does all of this for him. He has probably like a group of people, a bunch of people on Excel making spreadsheets, how much he earned in a week, what's changing and whatnot like that. And the funny part is, there's someone on top of those people. And since there's no fucking way Logan Paul is nearly enough smart to understand these things, whoever is on top and responsible for all of this, I hope he's stealing money from Logan Paul. Because Logan Paul will never find out. They can make bullshit expenses, they can make bullshit payouts, and Logan Paul will never find out because he probably has not seen a quarterly report even once in his life for real. He just most likely gets, an email that says, this is what they paid, and then he's like, wow, see, he actually got paid, and he has no idea what he's getting paid or whatever. Because this is how these people work. So I hope that someone's taking good advantage of the fact that Logan Paul is probably too stupid to know that someone is stealing from him. In a way, kind of justice for CryptoZoo, but who cares? Anyway, this is Quizzer Sensei, and that was a Tozy. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.